General Secretary Tô Lâm is going to participate in the military parade in Russia.
NATO commits to providing more than $21 billion United States dollars in aid to Ukraine.
Vietnamese textile enterprises facing U.S. countervailing tariff policy.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news. I'm Hoàng Yến and here we go, the first step of the show. The foreign ministers of Vietnam and Russia have exchanged discussions to prepare the best possible arrangements for General Secretary Tô Lâm visit and his participation in the 80th anniversary celebration of Great Patriotic War in Moscow, Russia.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Bùi Thanh Xuân is on an official visit to the Russian Federation. The two ministers have exchanged views to ensure the best preparations for General Secretary Tô Lâm visit and participation in the 80th anniversary celebration of the Great Patriotic War in Moscow, Russia, at the invitation of Russian President Vladimir Putin in May. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister Bùi Thanh Xuân emphasized that Vietnam consistently considers Russia as one of its key strategic and reliable partners in its foreign policy. Minister Lavrov affirmed that Vietnam is a priority partner in Russia's foreign policy in the Asia-Pacific region.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte stated that member countries have committed to providing more than 20 billion euros, equivalent to approximately 21.65 billion US dollars in military aid to Ukraine during the first 3 months of 2025.
Accordingly, on April 3rd and 4th, NATO foreign ministers are scheduled to meet in Brussels to further discuss the next packages of support for Ukraine. According to the latest data, Europe is playing a key role in the aid efforts, accounting for about 60% of military assistance and nearly 2/3 of the total support resources for Ukraine, a country that has suffered greatly due to the ongoing conflict. This increase in European aid comes at a time when there are signs that the US may adjust its foreign policy under President Donald Trump, with a trend towards closer ties with Russia and a strategic shift from Europe to the Indo-Pacific region.
As of now, the death toll from the devastating earthquake on March 28 in Myanmar have risen to nearly 3,000 people. There are still nearly 47,000 injured and 373 people remain missing.
According to the International Rescue Committee, the full scale of the earthquake's devastation remains unclear, with reports suggesting that a town near Mandalay has seen 80% of its buildings collapse. Though this has not yet been verified due to telecommunications disruptions. Meanwhile, satellite imagery analysis of Mandalay using artificial intelligence technology shows that 515 buildings have been damaged between 80 to 100%, and 1.524 other buildings have been damaged between 20 to 80%. The United Nations has warned that the earthquake disaster could exacerbate hunger and increase the risk of disease outbreaks in a country already facing nearly 20 million people in need of humanitarian aid due to ongoing civil conflict.
Upcoming are some updated news.
Nghệ An's budget revenue reached over 6,300 billion Vietnamese dongs in the first quarter of 2025. Achieving 35.6% of the target. The province aims to collect 26 billion Vietnamese dongs for the whole year, marking a 10.5% growth. Specifically, domestic revenue amounted to 5,954 billion Vietnamese dongs, reaching 37.2% of the target and 100.5% compared to the same period last year. Revenue from export-import activities totaled 293.6 billion Vietnamese dongs, achieving 18% of the target, and 74.6% compared to the same period last year. For 2025, the Provincial People's Council set a budget revenue target of 17,726 billion Vietnamese dongs. Previously, in 2024, Nghệ An surpassed the 25,000 billion Vietnamese dongs mark for the first time. with a total of 25,517 billion Vietnamese dongs, reaching 160.4% of the target and 118.6% of the 2023 actual revenue.
Negative developments spread across the stock market after U.S. President Donald Trump announced a series of new tax policies. When the market opened this morning, April 3rd, the Vietnamese stock market suddenly dropped sharply. By 9:15 a.m., the VN index had fallen by more than 43 points compared to the previous day. Dropping below the 1.300-point mark, the market was flooded in red, with 373 stocks on the VN index declining, including 28 hitting the floor price. On the HNX, 148 stocks also fell. Experts believe this is a short-term psychological impact, and the market will stabilize and balance out as there are still many internal factors supporting long-term growth. Therefore, investors should not panic excessively.
According to Forbes' latest report, Vietnam currently has 5 billionaires on the global list for 2025. Among them, Pham Nhat Vuong, Vietnam's richest person, saw his net worth increase by more than 2 billion United States dollars, reaching 7.7 billion United States dollars and ranking 397th globally. Nguyễn Thị Minh Khai, the only female billionaire on the list, holds 2.8 billion United States dollars and ranks 1,305th. Other billionaires include Tran Dinh Long, Ho Hung An, and Nguyen Dang Quang, leaders in the steel, banking, and consumer sectors. The presence of these billionaires not only affirms Vietnam's standing but also creates opportunities for the next generation of entrepreneurs.
In response to the news that U.S. is imposing a 46% countervailing tariff on goods exported from Vietnam, textile businesses, which have a large female workforce, believe that it is necessary to proactively enhance capacity, diversify markets, and not rely on any single major market. More in the story.
The director of a Vietnamese textile factory stated that the company will focus on expanding into new markets, including Europe, Canada, and Australia, after U.S. President Donald Trump announced a 46% tariff on Vietnamese goods imported into the U.S.
This is a very high tariff policy, and it will have a huge impact on Vietnamese exporters to the U.S., including the textile industry.
According to business owners in the garment sector, Vietnam needs to seek opportunities in European countries or CPTPP member countries that Vietnam has not yet fully explored, and now is the time to take advantage of these opportunities. Another factor is to diversify the products in which Vietnam has a competitive advantage, so it can enter European markets. A further issue is to reduce production costs and optimize production processes.
Currently, our company exports about 25% to the U.S. market. I predict that, given the current situation, this number may decrease by a few percentage points. To compensate for the reduction in orders from the U.S. market, we will focus on expanding into markets like Australia and Canada.
According to statistics, in 2024, the textile industry's export turnover reached approximately 43.5 billion United States dollars, growing by 11% compared to the previous year, positioning Vietnam as the second largest exporter globally. Notably, in the first 2 months of 2025, Vietnam exported more than 7 billion United States dollars in textile goods, with the export share to the U.S. still accounting for 40%.
The last story to end our program today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye and see you later.